the VCA Voice podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Marie Curl. Our goal with the VCA Voice is to showcase how VCA Animal Hospitals is taking care of the future of veterinary medicine. We'll bring our purpose to life through meaningful conversations about care, our culture, and the communities we serve. On today's episode, I'm happy to welcome two leaders from VCA Charities, a 501c3 nonprofit organization started by VCA to bring the joy of pet ownership to people by helping pets find and remain in loving homes. Kimberly West is the board president and chair of VCA Charities Board of Directors. She's also vice president of corporate affairs at VCA Animal Hospitals. Duncan is also on the board of directors for VCA Charities and serves as group vice president for the South Atlantic Group. Hi guys, how are you doing today?
Hi, Dr. Curl, we're great.
Excellent. So glad we are here, and I want to jump right in with questions so we can get started because I know we have a lot to talk about. So with each of you, and Diana, we'll start with you. Tell me a little more about your current role with VCA, and then we'll ask Kimberly the same question.
Sure, that sounds great. Thanks, Dr. Curl. I've been with VCA almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years next week. And I currently am serving, as you said, as the group vice president for the South Atlantic. And what that means is I support and oversee hospitals in 11 different states and make sure that our teams have the resources they need to be successful, both medically and in serving their communities.
I do have to ask, with 30 years of tenure, and congratulations on that, I'm really impressed. Where did you start with VCA?
I started as a receptionist at a 24-hour hospital in Sacramento, California.
Oh, wonderful. Well, someday we're going to have a deep discussion about that and making those steps. But I love the career progression that happens within VCA.
Absolutely.
So, Kimberly, tell me about your role. And you and I work together very closely. So
we do. It's great to be here, Dr. Curl. Thanks. And in fact, we work together so closely. You and I discovered the other day we had just finished the same book, which I thought was quite funny. I'm Kimberly West. I am responsible for corporate affairs at VCA. And I think what's probably most relevant in my role for this particular conversation is that corporate affairs is really about building a strong connection to our communities, to our associates, current and potential associates, and to our clients, and to just really show up as a good corporate citizen. So I'm really passionate about sustainability. It sits in my world. And when I think of VCA Charities, I think of that as a natural arm of how we make a really lasting impact on the world. My husband and I relocated to Los Angeles from Washington, D.C. almost 2 years ago for this role. I've got two boys, 5 and 8. I always joke one of them thinks that they're a dinosaur, and the other one is still trying to figure out if dogs are okay. So we've got some work to do. And certainly being in LA, there's incredible opportunity to do work with some of our nonprofit organizations focused on animal welfare.
Excellent. So I'd like to know also a little bit about each of your involvement with VCA Charities. I know that I said that in the introduction, but what does that mean? So Kimberly, as the board president and chair, what does that involve? And Diana, what does your role with VCA Charities involve?
If I can, Marie, I'll just share a quick story, and that would come back probably to about 1.5 years ago. And Diana was with me, actually. We had the opportunity to go up and see the LA Task Force 2 train. And this is a group of canines and their handlers who are focused on disaster response and recovery. So it was an incredible opportunity to go out and see them training for the very moment when they would be dispatched to take care of people, whether rescue them or locate human remains after major disasters. And at the time, my youngest son was heavy into Paw Patrol. And it was such a moment for me that crystallized the incredible work that we were funding as VCA Charities, because we give them a grant to make sure that these dogs really get the veterinary care they need, bringing to life what it means to donate and to raise money for something that felt local, but in fact had an incredibly global relevance and reach, because this group of professionals and canines go around the world on these rescue missions. They recently were in Turkey. We know they were also in Hurricane Ian. And so to be a part of VCA Charities means that we're able to connect with our hospital teams on missions that really matter to them locally, but we've been able to successfully scale it and show how VCA Charities can take care of really global things as well. I find that incredibly exciting, and it's a huge honor to be a part of it.
Oh, the task force work is amazing, and I hope we get to talk a little bit more about that. But the work that they do is just really tremendous. And Diana, I know you've been involved with VCA Charities over the years, and VCA Charities started in 2005. So tell me a little bit about how you got started with that and what your current involvement is.
Sure. VCA Charities was founded as you said, in 2005, in the days following Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really because our founders wanted to find a way to broaden the impact of what our hospitals had always naturally done in their own communities. For a lot of years, our charity was, I like to say, big on heart, but not as aligned on purpose. We did a lot of fundraising for local organizations in partnership with our hospitals. We gave grants to community partners following disasters. And we helped kick off pet food pantries around the country. In recent years, with the help of our executive staff, we've been able to really refine our focus a little bit in order to help us be more effective and more impactful around the country. And it was really, I think, through our pet food pantry work many years ago that my commitment to charities began. Mm-hmm. I used to live in California. I'm in Florida now, but we held a winter drive in the Sacramento area every year. And it was really heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time to see the same families come back every year to get supplies and thank us for our support. And it really made an impact on me and changed the way I think about pet ownership and homelessness, mm-hmm. and made me want to just find ways to give back.
So that has led to your current role. And what is your role with VCA Charities now?
So I am the treasurer of VCA Charities, which is a fancy title for saying I sit on the board and I get to sign off on the financial statements. But really what it means to me is I kind of see myself as the liaison between our hospitals and our charity group. Mm-hmm. So I like to make sure I'm communicating with our hospitals about the things that we're doing. And honestly, I became a part of the board because I kept asking for more and more ways we could do things. And they said, well, if you want to help, here's how you can do it. And so I've been in this role for a little over a year, I believe, a year and a half maybe. Mm-hmm. And I'm just excited to be here and continue to find ways that we can give back and really share our message through our hospitals and through the community.
Kimberly, what drew you to be engaged with VCA Charities? I know you talked about this a little bit, but let's dive into that a little more.
You know, at its core, VCA Charities is all about making sure pets find and remain in loving homes. And I think having a focused purpose makes it easier for anyone to get behind it because you know the direction of your dollars and you know what the work will do. It's about making grants and partnerships possible with shelters and animal welfare organizations. And in essence, we're sort of removing the barriers to having a pet at home and getting to enjoy what it means to have a pet at home. And we're doing this really in areas like making sure we can help out during disaster response, making sure that clients who demonstrate a financial need can have access to really critical dollars to make sure their pets are cared for in that moment, and to make sure that we're helping out communities that may be struggling to feed their pets. So I feel like there's a little bit of something for everyone in there, and yet we've got a really focused mission to do that. Mm-hmm. I view VCA Charities, and particularly the VCA involvement in VCA Charities, as one way that we're bringing to life our sustainability journey. So I look at it as if we're all about taking care of the future of veterinary medicine at VCA, one of the ways that we do that is to make sure that pets are taken care of, that pet well-being is always on the map when it comes to sustainability. So I see this as us really making sure we've made a concentrated effort on putting our purpose at the core of what we do. When I think about sustainability, I think about doing well for the planet. I think about making sure that people in our communities are thriving, and equally in pet care, as you can imagine, we make sure that pets are thriving and pet well-being is really sort of at the focus of what we do. And that's what's come through in VCA Charities. We've got an awesome team that supports us. We have Kim Van Sykes, our executive director. We've got Paula Little on board as well, and they're incredible pet care focused nonprofit leaders who have helped us on this journey to become a very focused organization and maximize our giving. So Diana mentioned we do a ton of work at the hospital level. And so the question we've been reconciling and figuring out over the last few years is how do we take that local impact and tie it to something that is nationally relevant and important And we're seeing some of that come through in the grants that we're able to do recently. It's really, really exciting.
And that's wonderful. Diana, Kimberly talked a little bit about how we've developed our focus of giving. Can you tell me the main areas of our current giving focus?
Yeah, Kimberly touched on a lot of them, but we have them sort of broken into 5 broad categories. Hope Funds, which is providing financial support to pet owners who can't afford the cost of emergency care at our hospitals. Fighting Hometown Hunger, where we provide nearly 500,000 healthy meals to pets through partnerships with over 30 nonprofits around the country.
Wow.
Ready for Rescue Grants, supporting animal welfare organizations with financial support and resources to ready pets for adoption.
Mm-hmm.
Hometown Heroes Grants, where we can support local working dog and nonprofit organizations that are supporting our hospital hometowns, and disaster relief grants, helping nonprofit partners in need when disaster strikes with things like resources, rescue, and transport. And we really saw this come to life last year during Hurricane Ian, where we were able to help relocate animals out of the flooded areas. And through our partnership with the LA Task Force, they actually were deployed to Sanibel Island. And so some of those dogs that we got to know and we got to watch in training were actually the boots on the ground and the paws on the ground, trying to help get people out of the area and get them to safety.
Oh, that's a wonderful connection. I got a little bit of goosebumps hearing about that, because that was a great story that we did last year too, about the impact of that hurricane. Kimberly, how is VCA Charities funded?
That's a great question. Well, your listeners should know you are an advocate of VCA Charities and you're always giving. So thank you, Marie. There are a whole lot of ways. So I think let me start from the inside out. If you are a VCA associate, we can do payroll deductions, and we have folks who have been willing to do that, which is an awesome regular contribution that our associates can make. If you're a client of VCA Animal Hospitals and you have a wonderful experience, consider giving back. And the team that checks you out as you leave the hospital can help you with that. If you are someone listening who has a deep passion for pets, there are very easy ways to find us online. It's vcacharities.org or on Instagram to make that donation. And the very cool thing about VCA Charities is you're going to see your dollars at work really quickly and across a whole lot of local organizations that map up to that mission of making sure that pets find and remain in loving homes. So I feel really proud that we can show the dollars given by our associates, our clients, our communities at work really quickly and in very concrete ways.
What are some examples that you're particularly proud of that we've been able to help with?
We've had some really fun campaigns going over the last year or two. And again, I think the reason we've been able to jump to the campaign side of things, which our teams love at VCA, is because we've got a strong focus for our mission in place. So one of them I would highlight is this campaign called Second Chance Kong. So dogs love Kong toys, right?
Our dogs love Kongs.
Right? You can put some peanut butter in it. It's just a fun thing to have around. And the VCA Charities team and KVP, which makes Kong, came to realize there are plenty of slightly imperfect Kong toys out there that for a while had just kind of been cast off. And take that idea, okay, what are second chance things? What comes back around? It's that pet that needs a new loving home that's been in a shelter. So we fused those two ideas together and we said, okay, we're going to call this our Second Chance Kong campaign. And it's a campaign that's underway right now. We've got about 125 hospitals across the US competing for this. And because of the awesome donations of the clients in our hospitals and the work of those teams, we've raised about $50,000 in just a short few months for some of these local animal welfare organizations. And on top of that, because of the relationship with KVP, we've shipped about 15,000 Kongs to shelter pets across the country. The photos have been amazing. They keep coming through, and I would encourage anyone to check out some of the outcomes up on the VCA Charities Instagram. But this has been a huge hit with our hospital teams, and we've really enjoyed watching all of this unfold locally.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The other piece just to mention is where we are on our Hope Funds program, and Diana mentioned this, and HOPE stands for Helping Overcome Pet Emergencies. And that's what helps income qualifying clients with the cost of emergency veterinary care. Just this year alone, we've awarded about $208,000 in financial support.
Wow.
And we're at about nearly $1 million since we launched the program in October 2020. So some real immediate impact in those crisis moments when they're needed. And I think we should be quite proud of that. And it wouldn't be possible without the incredible organizing of our teams in the field and in the hospitals, and also our very willing clients.
Do you have any examples of pets' conditions that have received HOPE funds and been helped? Like what would qualify a pet and a client to be able to take advantage of that program?
Yeah, I can take that. The daily occurrence of an animal that comes in that's been injured, maybe it's a broken leg, maybe it's a hit by car, maybe it's a blocked cat. And those things are fixable, but they weren't budgeted and they weren't planned for.
Mm-hmm.
Many of our clients are in a situation where, they want to do what they can for their pets, but financially they don't have the means to do so at that moment in time. And so they go through a very short application process that our hospitals can help guide them through. And we get an answer for them generally within just a couple of hours. And then we can make decisions to go forward with a surgery or a procedure to get that pet healthy and back home again to the family that loves them. And we've been able to do this, as Kimberly said, for, several hundred animals throughout the last couple of years. And it's really heartwarming to see the results and see, that we can get them back home again.
I'm also familiar with the Better Together Fund. Is that also supported by VCA Charities, or is that something that's different?
The Better Together Fund is a way for our associates within VCA, within Blue Pearl, within Banfield, to get access to critical dollars to help them during times of hardship. So this can be in the aftermath of a natural disaster. It could be because of domestic violence. So this is available to associates, and it's done through fundraising at each of our Mars veterinary health units. And it's a way to make sure that your colleagues can have their feet on the ground when times are really, really tough. We saw these dollars in use right after Hurricane Ian, and it was incredible to see the difference that it made in people's lives when there was no way to get food. There was maybe no place to drive because the gas is not available after Hurricane Ian. And so these were the dollars that helped people at least get on their feet for a short time for those folks within VCA who would qualify for it. And it's an incredible resource. And I think, the appeal is, as an associate, if you give, that you're helping out someone else you care about somewhere in your organization. So it's quite meaningful.
Diana, what is some of the feedback that you've received from our hospital associates and or clients? Do these programs with VCA Charities make a difference to them?
Absolutely. Many of our hospital associates get really excited to see the things that we can do to help out and to see how they can have an impact. And as Kimberly said, seeing the pictures come in from some of the shelter pets that got Kongs, it was just as fun to see the pictures come in from some of the hospitals that were setting up these Kong displays and things like that within their hospitals. And they get very competitive and very excited to be a part of it. And through that promotion, we actually saw some clients that came into our hospitals and made a donation, which was supposed to enable them to take a Kong home for themselves. And they said to the staff, can you just take it and drop it at a shelter because I want to help out and I don't need this at my house. So it's been really fun to see. And we've seen a lot of excitement over also our Boop My Nose campaign, which is one where we partner with the Boop My Nose Foundation, which is a great Instagram page to follow just to get those happy puppy pictures every day. Oh. And we sponsor one pet every week in some shelter organization that Boop My Nose is featuring. And we help pay their adoption fees if they're chosen to get into a home. And so it's just another fun way that we have for our staff and our clients to really see kind of the things that we can do to make an impact on the broader communities.
Oh, that's wonderful. Maybe we can put a link to Boop My Nose in the show notes in case people want to see adorable pictures of pets and be able to help pets find loving homes.
Who doesn't want to see adorable pictures of pets?
Yeah,
I know, exactly. I totally agree.
They're really good. They're really good.
Kimberly, we talk a lot about our purpose at VCA of taking care of the future of veterinary medicine and also supporting hometown care. How do VCA Charities intersect with that and helping us fulfill those goals?
Yeah, I like to think about the VCA donation to VCA Charities and the roles that Diana Dr. Todd Lavender, Michelle Beach, and I play on the board, just as another way we are doing two things. One, bringing our purpose to life, which is to think well beyond who we are as an organization within our four walls, or because we have 1,000 hospitals, our 4,000 walls. So we're thinking bigger. And then the other side of it is, I do really see VCA Charities as one way that we're bringing sustainability into focus for VCA and for our associates, because if we're going to leave the planet in a better place, the communities and the people that are there need to be thriving, and the pets in those communities need to have a real focus on well-being. So I see the intersection as something that's going to make us more successful on the journey to be a sustainable organization. And I think it's about thinking bigger than who we are. And I love how it plays out that the work that VCA Charities does, the grants that it gives, are making direct impact in the communities where our associates are, where we want to be as an organization. And that when you step back and look at it, that clear purpose is coming through. We're making sure that pets find and remain in loving homes. It's incredibly exciting. And like Diana said, I mean, who doesn't want to see the pictures of the happy pets who are with their folks? You know, it is one of those deeply emotional things. When you look at the faces of the handlers who, like, we all know by name, right, of this LA task force to this canine task force, and the connection they have with the canines in that group, the human animal bond and the value of it is so clear. And to have a hand in making sure that connection is saved and savored is really a pretty powerful thing.
Just so our listeners know, the U.S. Search and Rescue is part of the federal group. There's a number of task forces with search and rescue animals all over the country. And this is one that's located close to our support office and our essentially our home, where our founders started VCA. Can you give me some other information on what work that they've done in addition to Hurricane Ian, and where they've gone and where they've gone recently? Either of you can answer that.
One of their teams was deployed to Sanibel to help with Hurricane Ian, and a number of the teams also were recently in Turkey after the earthquake.
Wow.
And spent several weeks there looking for survivors. And, they are one of just a couple of teams that are certified to do international rescue.
Uh-huh.
And so it's kind of interesting to see, that they both do things locally, nationally, and internationally. And so they're training all the time for, any different kind of variety of disaster. And it's been great to be able to support their work in that area and make sure they have what they need to get out there and do what needs to be done to keep our communities safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard a figure that handlers and trainers for search and rescue in different capacities spend probably 20 hours a week of training. And it's an ongoing process. The dogs are so talented and the handlers are so talented. And the dogs actually they have so much fun with it. To them, it's a game, and it's happens to be a life-saving and sustaining, supporting game. So I absolutely love our connection with supporting search and rescue work as well.
And we know you, Marie, you've deployed before, I think, around the 4th of July, right, to the DC National Capital Region.
Yeah. I've been involved in the National Veterinary Response Team since 2002. And actually my involvement with that group started after 9/11 and looking for a way to be able to volunteer and help to give back. And that actually brings up a good point about what about our associates who are interested in volunteerism? And are there any activities coming soon or ways that people can get involved now, either with VCA Charities or get involved in other volunteer work to give back to their communities?
Many of our hospitals and associates have been involved in volunteering in their communities for years, and we encourage and support that, whether that's through, working with their local search dog or working dog organizations, or, in partnerships with shelters and other associations. And so, to date, we don't have any specific formal VCA Charities opportunities, but we're working on developing those as well as we further, refine our mission and our opportunities. But we also are supporting our hospitals in doing, a lot of those things that they always have wanted to do locally. One of our promises is to deliver world-class medicine with hometown care. And for us, hometown care is outside of their four walls as well as inside. And so finding ways that they can help in their communities. And I know, Kimberly, you know of a couple of hospitals down in Los Angeles that are doing some great things as well.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the common thread is that they're following their hearts.
Mhm.
I think that's the most important thing. And VCA Charities gives you a bit of a vessel or a framework to do that. So one of our hospital teams does some work with one of our local shelters, and it came out of doing it one time and then thinking, oh my gosh, we really enjoy this. How can we make routinely some time to do this, because it's filling up our tanks when we come back to the hospital. We've got that extra bit of teamwork and building and trust set aside, and we get to be with animals, which fundamentally is sort of the core of why we're here. And we know we've got a team up in the Northeast. I think it's Lauren McVeigh, who's one of our senior leaders here at VCA, is doing some upcoming volunteering to do some cleanup to make sure that the grounds in one of the areas close by to her are sort of preserved in a way that's going to be better for the planet and better for the animals that are out there. So it's about following your passion. It's about making use of the resources that are out there. So we have an awesome team who a lot of times can direct our hospitals to the animal welfare organizations that could match what they are focused on, passionate about. And that makes it a really great channel to get things done that you're very passionate about. And we've got work to do in this area. We'd love to make sure that we've got repeatable ways for folks to get together and volunteer and feel, like Diana said, that you've got the connection locally to our overall impact goals. So we're working on it, more progress to be made. And to our hospital teams that are doing it right now, it's awesome. And our favorite thing is to look at the photos and the videos that come in.
How can listeners get more involved with VCA Charities?
Yeah, there are lots of ways. So I would say the first, if you're a listener and you've got your phone handy, inevitably you do, because you might be streaming the podcast from there. Head over to Instagram, find VCA Charities on Instagram, find VCA Charities on LinkedIn. There's, of course, vcacharities.org, which is our site. If you're a VCA associate, get in touch with Diana, with me, with Michelle Beach, Dr. Todd Lavender, Marie, who's one of our biggest supporters, and we'll talk you through what sort of resources are available to you. And if you're a client in one of our hospitals and you've had great service, or you're feeling like, you know what, I would love to see how VCA Charities can help a local organization, talk to the team that's doing your checkout or even bringing you into the hospital, and they'll figure out ways that we can make it easier for you to donate. So lots of opportunities and possibilities. We have another fun campaign that'll come up before the end of the year. We call it A Home for the Holidays. And you probably could guess this is all about making sure that the pets and shelters find and remain in loving homes as we head into the holidays. And it was awesomely successful last year, and we'll be bringing it back to our hospitals and our local communities in 2023.
And if you're a listener that isn't close to a VCA hospital, you can also just text GIVE to 213-325-1919. And every dollar that comes in really does make an impact. And we really focus them in to organizations that really can use the help.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I'm going to put a plug in for VCA associates for the payroll deduction method, that you can do any amount you want, small or large, whatever fits in your budget. And it just happens automatically. And essentially you can give and feel good and not have to worry about making a point to reach out to a website, and your impact is great. Well, ladies, I've really enjoyed speaking to both of you so much. Diana and Kimberly, thank you for your time and for sharing such wonderful information today. I'm really excited about this episode.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your support, Dr. Curl.
Thank you so much for listening in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to leave a review to let us know your thoughts, and share the episode with friends. Follow VCA Animal Hospitals on social media at LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For more inspiring stories, visit our website at vcavoice.com.